last one, another conspiracy theory. What are the psychological underpinnings that lead people to believe that Hitler escaped the Berlin bunker?
Well, now at the end of the war, Hitler was, of course, forced in the end to recognize that he had lost, and so he started to tell his staff he was going to kill himself. And in particular, after Mussolini, the Italian fascist dictator, was captured by partisans, shot, and his body with some other leading fascists strung upside down, naked, from a gantry in a fuel station in the outskirts of Milan and pelted with rubbish and so on the 28th of April 1945, Hitler was determined he would not suffer the same fate. He did not want to be put on trial. He was going to kill himself. And by this stage, he was living in a bunker, a reinforced air raid bunker, a very large one underneath the Reich Chancellery in the middle of Berlin. Even many feet down through concrete ceilings, you could hear the bombs going off and the Russian artillery going off. It was only a matter of hours before the Red Army made its way into the area of the Reich Chancellery. And so he shot himself just after marrying his long-term partner, Eva Braun, who took poison. The two men were detailed to take the bodies up into the Reich Chancellery garden, which they did. A huge quantity of petroleum gas, as you'd say, had been gathered, and the bodies were burnt. All that was left of Hitler was the jawbone, which was later identified by a dental technician who worked for dentists who treated his teeth. So more than that, there's no evidence at all, no solid evidence of any kind that Hitler was ever seen anywhere after 30th of April 1945, or that Eva Braun, at the end, Eva Hitler, who was a professional photographer and took many cine films, many videos, many photographs of Hitler and his entourage before 30th of April 1945, though not in the bunker. No evidence, no photos of hers, no videos have ever emerged after 1945. But a lot of, there's a whole industry, including a 24-part TV series called Hunting Hitler, where the conspiracy theorists rush around Argentina and South America looking for traces of Hitler. They don't find any at all. It may have been here, he might have been here. I feel he was here, so there's no evidence. There have been claims that he had children with Eva Braun. There's no evidence of that. Photographs are produced sometimes, but they're always of other people's children, quite easily documented, friends of Eva Braun with Hitler. So there's a persistent thread of books, pamphlets, TV programs, and so on that allege that he escaped by one means or another to Argentina. None of it has backed up with any solid evidence whatsoever. And of course, like all these conspiracy theories, it ignores the real evidence. It can't deal with it. It just bypasses it. There's a British Secret Service investigation in 1945 by Hugh Trevor Roper, which a later historian, which he interviewed a lot of the people involved in the bunker, came to the conclusion that suicide. The Russians, the Red Army, staged an elaborate investigation, interviewed the people who burned the body. There's a German court which eventually issues a formal death certificate after long, elaborate investigations in the mid-50s. So these why do people then do this? Well, some of them, I think, just do it for money. It's just sensationalist stuff. It's you have to ask why the newspaper, it's still going, the National Enquirer. Yeah, find it in America. You find it out on newsstands. These are fantasy stories. People like to. It's fun to read them. Hitler seen in Argentina, kind of thing. But a lot of people who were involved in propagating these conspiracy theories are admirers of Hitler. They say, well, he fooled the Allies so many times before. How could he die this squalid death by his own hand underground in the middle of Berlin? He must have fooled them and got away and lived a peaceful retirement in Argentina. Not that Hitler was the sort of person who would ever retire. There's the tape recordings of Adolf Eichmann, one of the main architects of the Holocaust in Argentina, discussing with other old Nazis how they're going to make a comeback. It's a complete fantasy world. They never even mentioned the possibility that Hitler might be alive. So a small number want Hitler as sort of wishful thinking. A lot of conspiracy theories involve a lot of wishful thinking. He could have been put on trial. He should have been put on trial. He managed to escape by the suicide, and that was wrong. But that's a minority. It's mostly people who admire Hitler.